It looks like we don't have any Pokemon for the Ferocious Cup. I wish there was some people I could ask that had a bunch of PvP knowledge that could really help me create a good team. Oh wait, there are! Alright, so here's how we're going to do this. Each Sylph League tournament consists of having a team of 6 Pokemon. So in order to do that, I'm going to need to talk to 6 different people, or ask 6 different people to choose a Pokemon. So what I've told these people are to choose 3 Pokemon from the Ferocious Cup without any other, I didn't tell them to choose the very best. I just asked them to choose 3, and maybe they made their own criteria of maybe they did choose the best, maybe they just chose ones that they liked, maybe they chose ones that are anti-meta. I don't know. Maybe they'll tell their reasoning. But yeah, so each of them is going to choose 3, and then of those 3, after they have their say of their 3, I'm going to choose one of them to actually put onto my Ferocious Cup team. And then at the end of the video, we're going to see what our team looks like, and we're going to do some battles with this team that we created. So hopefully it'll be good. So let's go into our first person here, and it's going to be for the battles.
Hey guys, for the battles here, and I am just going to talk to you about 3 picks I have for the Ferocious Cup. Now, going into my first pick, I am going to go with Minun. Minun is a solid little electric type Pokemon, and we're definitely going to need some electrics in this very water heavy meta when we don't have any grass to keep them in check. And so basically, I mean, they all kind of serve the same purpose, but the reason I like Minun is it's a little bit tankier than a lot of the other electrics, and it has the benefit of being able to beat Umbreon in the 2-shield scenario. And so that is where I'm going to go with my first pick of Minun. And now for my second pick, I am going to go ahead and go with Skuntank. Skuntank is a dark and poison type, and so it's going to be able to take out or put up a pretty good fight against charm users, and because it does have that poison typing, it's not going to be the fairy is not going to be super effective to it. It's just going to be neutral. It still does a lot. It's kind of a tie in a lot of situations, but it can beat Alolan Ninetales and other charmers. And so that's why I'm going to go with Skuntank for my second pick. I also like it that it makes a very good swap in this meta. A lot of people have been comparing it to mons like Dusclops in the Sinister Cup. We have a little bit of a similar mon in Skuntank, and then it makes a good swap. It can get some energy pretty quick and have some very hard-hitting moves. And so we've got Minun, Skuntank, and for my third pick, I am going to go ahead and go with Vaporeon. Vaporeon is just a hard-hitting Watermon. You're going to have a few Watermon options in this cup. I personally like Vaporeon. It's got some hard-hitting moves you can pick between Hydro Pump, Last Resort. If you haven't got a Last Resort Vaporeon, Hydro Pump makes a pretty nice option. And it's got a quick move, pretty quick charge move in Aqua Tail for some baiting scenarios, or just honestly, it's a pretty hard-hitting move. And so those are my picks for the Ferocious Cup. I am enjoying Vaporeon, Minun, and Skuntank. All right, thanks for listening, guys.
Alright, we have Skuntank. He's going to be a dark and poison type, and Skuntank right now is listed number 15 of the top Pokemon in the Ferocious Cup, and you're going to be wanting to use that Poison Jab, Crunch, and Sludge Bomb. Really, Skuntank is here to take out all of the charm users in this cup, like Alolan Ninetales, Granbull. He is the anti-charmer in this cup. So, great pickup for the first one. Let's go on to the next one.
Hey, what's up everyone? Best and West here. And 3 Pokemon that I'm really liking in the Ferocious Cup are Umbreon, Nidoqueen, and Vaporeon. I feel like that core of 3 Pokemon will really pretty much cover the whole meta and will do very well with each other. Now, how to make it work and what specific lineups they're gonna do well against. I'm still testing that out, but yeah, Umbreon, Nidoqueen, Vaporeon.
You knew this pick was coming. We're choosing Umbreon. He is listed as the #1 Pokemon in the Ferocious Cup. You're going to want to have Snarl, Foul Play, and if you have that Legacy Umbreon, you're going to want that Last Resort. If you don't have it, Dark Pulse is okay, but you're really going to want to have that Last Resort for the mirror matches. So let's get to the next pick.
G'day, battlers, and PvP Steve here to give you my top 3 picks for the Ferocious Cup. So, pick number uno muno 1, Bibarel, I don't know how to say it, but it's that beaver dude, and he is sick in this cup. He just does some really nice damage with that water gun, and then gets the surf off pretty quick. Not as quick as other Pokemon with surf, but that's just because water gun isn't super fast on the energy generation. But that doesn't matter because Bibarel is awesome. Pick number 2, I don't actually have one, but it has been destroying me, that Last Resort Umbreon. You know that it's the king of the meta. Everyone knows it's the king of meta, and if you have one, it is awesome. I do have one coming my way. We'll just get to that when it comes. And then third pick is one that I want to do good. I want one. It is Lickitung. Lickitung does need to be level 40, but I just really like Lickitung. It does have lick damage, which might get walled up against the dark types, Umbreon and Alolan Raticate, but Lickitung's really cool. So it's got that. And Hyper Beam. So yeah. PvP Steve out.
You're right about that one. That beaver dude is sick. We're going with Bibarel? I don't know either. It's a water and normal type Pokemon. It's got water gun, it's got surf, and it's got hyper beam. We're going big because we always do it bigger in Texas. We're going hyper beam for that one shot on any of the Pokemon. Let's go. Next pick.
Hi Berge, Indigo here. I wanted to say which Pokemon I'm liking for this cup. It's very difficult to go outside the main meta, but I like these 3. I like Skuntank because it's really versatile and can beat Alolan Ninetales with the proper shield and energy usage. Linoone because it can threaten a lot of things like water types, ground types, also Alolan Marowak, so that's nice. And I like Minun because it's the beefy electric type out there. Well, I hope this helps. Bye!
Alright, we're going with Linoone here. We do need something to take out all of those pesky water types, and Linoone is rank 5 on PvP Poke for Ferocious Cup. He's a normal type with Shadow Claw, probably the best fast move in the game, energy and damage wise. And he has Grass Knot, which is going to be a fast move to get to and take out all of those water types. And for the second charge move, I think we're going to go with Dig, just as a big energy move to get all of that energy out if you farm something down. So Linoone is going to be our anti-water.
Yeah, what up Verg? This is Jimma Banks and my wordy word on the Ferocious Cup, selecting 3 Pokemon that I like to use, not named Umbreon. We're always looking for ways to defeat that dark evolution, and one of the ways is with Minun. Yes, very expensive, but I like that it's able to defeat Umbreon with Thunderbolt. You do have a little bit of shield bait option. It's not a huge shield bait, but you could go with Discharge and hope to get a shield out of your opponent, or just go for the big move, Thunderbolt. I like Minun. And one of my recent spicy picks, I like Alolan Sandslash. It gives you a few different options defeating some of the meta or some of the Pokemon that give you trouble. Bulldoze to take care of Minun because Minun was a problem for me before I made one and put one on my team. And Powder Snow does charge up that charge move very quickly. Of course, you have to look out for other Pokemon, but I don't see many people using Alolan Sandslash, and Jimma Banks right now likes Alolan Sandslash. Stamp it and try it out. And then you need a charm user. There's a few different charm users, but I'm going to go with Alolan Ninetales. It does take a while to get to a Psyshock, but Psyshock could potentially hit a Pokemon for a lot of damage, and Charm is needed to take care of Umbreon. So those are my 3 selections for this video from Verg, and that is my wordy word. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for more content and creativity from the homie Verg. Take care, everyone.
Hey Gemma, you're right. We do need a charm user for this cup, and we're going to take a Alolan Ninetales right here. Fairy Ice type's going to have charm for its fast attack. Psyshock and Ice Beam are preferable because they are faster, lower energy cost moves. So yeah, we're taking Alolan Ninetales. Chia Chia. Let's get the last pick.
Raichu Battlers, 3 Pokemon for the Ferocious Cup that I like just off the top of my head. To keep it short and simple, my first pick is going to be Kanto Raichu. Even though, he can be really squishy, and preferably you're going to want a Legacy, unfortunately, with Thundershock. Just the utility and the nuke capabilities that the Thundershock Raichu has with Brick Break and then Wild Charge. I'm such a fan of Kanto Raichu. My next pick is actually going to be Nidoqueen. Preferably a Nidoqueen that has Poison Jab, Earth Power, and then Stone Edge. I just really like its utility and how consistent it is overall. And it can hit really hard. My third pick, I also would consider my favorite. It's kind of off meta. I don't think it's going to be very common, but Kangaskhan. A Kangaskhan that actually has Mud Slap, Power Up Punch, and Crunch. Unfortunately, I don't have access to any Kangaskhans that have the Legacy charge move Stomp. So that's rest in peace, GG's. Starting off with Ferocious, it's different. It's not necessarily based on types, and I think that's why everybody's interested in it.
Alright, with our last pick, we are going to go with Jay Devon's pick of Nidoqueen. She is a ground poison type, going to have that poison jab, earth power, and I think ours has Sludge Bomb because we don't have any more charge TMs, but maybe we can get that Stone Edge when we get it back. Thanks for the pick from the Texan at heart, Jay Devon. So this is the team that we made from all of the picks from our friends out there, our battlers. And we have, of course, Umbreon, the king of the cup, right there at the top. And we have Bibarel, one of the water types. Now there are a few other water types, Vaporeon and Suicune. They all have their own merits. Bibarel, really good choice though. Under Bibarel we have Lanoon, our anti-water type, with that Grass Knot. Is really going to be pressuring the waters with that super effective damage. Since there are no grass Pokemon in this cup, we're looking for grass or electric type moves to really punish the water types out there. Alolan Ninetales we have here at the bottom. Charm user, really good against Umbreon in general. Most of the Charm users are going to have a good time against Umbreon, so you're going to want one of them on your team. Skuntank, an anti-Charm user. Poison's going to be super effective against the fairy type of Alolan Ninetales per se, and yeah, really good against them. Nidoqueen, also a poison type, is also going to be an anti-charmer. So our team is Umbreon, the best generalist in the cup, a water Pokemon, a anti-water Pokemon in Lanoon, a charm user in Ninetales, Alolan Ninetales, and then 2 anti-charm users with Skuntank and Nidoqueen. So let's go ahead and get into the battles and see how this team does that our battler friends helped us pick. Alright, so let's get into the game as we did 4 best of 3s here, and this first set is going to be against Shagness. Now, we've revealed teams here, but in the other sets we did not reveal teams, so this is the only one. And we noticed that she has Vaporeon and Raichu, so I'm predicting the Vaporeon lead, which actually ends up being coming to fruition. And we started off with Lanoon. All we're going to try to do here is get to a second Grass Knot, because since she shielded the first one, the second Grass Knot's either going to take a second shield or take out the Vaporeon. So we end up taking out the Vaporeon, and then I shield here against the Raichu, just because I know I want to get to a Grass Knot against Raichu to take a shield or do heavy damage. And then I swap out there into Umbreon, which is a super safe swap for almost anything in the meta. The only thing that's really going to be destroying it are the charm users. And looks like I have the graphic wrong there. It's actually Kanto Sandslash that I'm seeing, that I'm just noticing right now. And it looks like the fast attacks are Mud Slaps. Yeah, I get a text right there, and I go ahead and put Do Not Disturb. Yeah, so I don't know too much about Kanto Sandslash, but we ended up taking out Umbreon, so I don't know how good it is or what it's going to be good against. Probably good against the anti-charmers, I imagine. Ground being really good against poison in a general sense. And so here we go in game 2. I decide to start Umbreon, so I start with a safe lead and then have very specific counter Pokemon in the back. I'm trying to counter a water swap in with Lanoon or a charm swap in with Skuntank. And she actually starts with Vaporeon, so I decide I'm just going to stay in this matchup. Umbreon does win this matchup, and we're just going to go straight foul play. So I didn't know if I was going to get taken out by that Aqua Tail there. I'm pretty sure that I do live, but I just wanted to be safe. And she swaps into Sandslash and then quickly swaps out into Alolan Ninetales. Now, at the time of this actual battle, I didn't know that the Ninetales was actually in there, but now that I see the charge attack, the fast attacks, I can obviously see that it's Charm. But I did not know that the first, or during the game. And so it does take out our Umbreon. That's what Alolan Ninetales is meant for, but we have Skuntank in the back who's going to fast attack down that Alolan Ninetales, and then we're just going to use all of our energy here on this Sandslash. And we're just going to let our Skuntank go. I mean, Lanoon's in the back anyways, so at full HP, so we're going to shield this charge attack. It's Bulldoze. I believe she used Earthquake as well. But we're just going to fast attack the Sandslash down because we don't want to give it the opportunity to shield, which would give it 1 extra turn's worth of fast attacks over us. Especially since we knew we could take it out. So here we have the Nidoqueen mirror match, and I did not realize that Earth Power was going to do so much damage. It pretty much effectively takes out our Nidoqueen and gives her, since she saw that we didn't shield, she ends up shielding and gains a lot of energy in the process. I believe able to get the halfway to Earth Power just on the Nidoqueen alone. So we do end up shielding Earth Power, and we get a pretty decent amount of energy on our Barbarelle as well. And we just want to get up to that Hyper Beam, and then we swap out because we want to force the shield out with our Umbreon here at any point in this match so that we can come back in with Barbarelle, the barrel, and use that Hyper Beam and do a ton of just neutral damage to something. So I do end up shielding here on this Bulldoze because I think that I can take out this Sandslash and get to the mirror match, and then we can just slug away and kind of soften up this Umbreon for our Barbarelle. And I think I go for this last resort here and then swap back out into... we swap so that we can get the Hyper Beam off here. And it actually doesn't do as much as I thought it would do. It actually does about 40-45%, but that's because Umbreon is such a tanky Pokemon, and that's why Umbreon's so good in this cup. It's so tanky, and not a lot of things are going to be doing super effective damage against it. So it's only going to be taking neutral from a lot of the field, and that combined with the tankiness is going to be able to hold its own, like I said, against most of the field. So that was our first set. We won that one, and we're going up against Antonier, 28. He's actually in our Ranger lobby. We just completed a cup today, actually, and I believe this is our first battle. We didn't actually play each other in that cup for the Sinister Cup, but hopefully we can get that video out as well. It will be a few days into November, maybe 1 day, maybe 2 days, but we will get that video out to y'all. Sorry, I've been working on this video for so long. So we start with Lanoon against Alolan Ninetales, and we get a shield with the Grass Knot, and then when we bring in our Barbarelle, we're shielding that Psyshock because we didn't know how much damage it's going to do. It's pretty early in this cup, and I just wanted to avoid it at all costs anyways. And then he brings in Umbreon, so we pull we pull our Barbarelle out and bring in Umbreon because we do not win that matchup. So we're just going to go into the neutral matchup here and just throw out Last Resorts on cooldown. Every time we get to Last Resort, we're throwing it out. And we do get the shield, so neither of us have shields anymore. And we do have a health advantage here, so as long as we keep doing what we're doing, we will take it out. I don't think this Last Resort is going to take it out though, so we need to get to that foul play since the HP is so low on this other Umbreon. And his Last Resort isn't going to take us out either. And I believe he actually swaps here into the Alolan Marowak, which I think we're perfectly okay with. We have a Dark type here in Umbreon, and I go ahead and use that foul play, but we do have Barbarelle in the back, and we can get up to a second Surf here to use against the Umbreon as well, after we take out Alolan Marowak. Alolan Marowak is an interesting choice. I personally don't feel like I'm going to use it because it's so weak against water, and water is so dominant in this cup right now. With Suicune, Barbarelle, and Vaporeon all being very viable choices. Not even viable, like almost tier. Each of them is almost tier 1. So it's going to be really hard to justify bringing in Alolan Marowak. Although I think that it's ground. I think what people are using it for is that ground typing being really good against the poison users, the anti-charmers, and I can kind of see merit to that. You can get the Shadow Ball off on the water users if it's in the late game with no shields, and you probably will take them out. So, you know, it's probably not as bad as I think, but I think I'm personally not going to use it. So we got the good lead against us here. The Minun is really good against Barbarelle, and we swap into Skuntank, and he swaps into Umbreon. And in order to beat Skuntank, all you need to do with Umbreon is go straight Last Resort. So our Skuntank gets taken out, but we end up taking out his Umbreon, and he has Alolan Ninetales in the back. And luckily, well, I say luckily, but we don't actually have Umbreon in this team of 3, so we're not going to be too scared of that Alolan Ninetales. All we're going to be doing is trying to get off as many charge moves against it as we can. But now that we're in the final matchup here, I can just fast attack it down, have enough energy for this Surf, which is going to take the shield, even though it does actually a pretty decent amount of damage to Minun, even though Minun is a bulky Pokemon. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to auto it down to the point, or fast attack it down to the point where when I use my Surf, it will take out the Minun. And the reason I do that is, same reason I mentioned earlier, I don't want them to have a chance to, I don't want to use my fast attack and lose the auto attack, lose the fast attack, if, just in case they live by one fast attack's worth of damage, because then they might be able to get their move off. And if Minun ever gets a move off against Barbarelle, he is going to get absolutely devastated. Electric, good against water. Everyone knows that. So here in this game, we start Alolan Ninetales. He starts Umbreon. Obviously, this is a really good matchup for us, so he swaps into Minun, and I don't have a direct counter to Minun, but I want to make sure that I save Alolan Ninetales for that Umbreon matchup later, so I switch into my safe switch of Umbreon and take on that Minun. Now, with that energy advantage the Minun had, he would have been able to take out Umbreon if he didn't already have sustained as much damage as he had, so I knew I was pretty safe after safe swapping in against Minun, because with that health disadvantage, he no longer has the upper hand in the matchup. Because usually at a fair, at a starting point, if you both start Minun and Umbreon, that Minun is going to win in the 2 shield scenario, just going straight Thunderbolt. So we end up back in this mirror match, and I decide not to swap out, because just in case he has an anti-charmer in the back, we don't want to give him the free energy So I made sure to burn this Umbreon as far down as possible, and I thought I could come in with a charm to take out Umbreon, but he actually had a charge move, which stopped my second charm from going through, and was able to swap into this Vaporeon. But luckily for us, you know, we have so much of an advantage at this point that we can easily take out this Vaporeon and still have that Umbreon is in the back with like 5% HP, so nothing really to worry about there. Plus we had a Surf just in case, but we knew where he was at, and he had the shield, so we kind of just, like in the previous things, if you don't have to use your your charge attack when they have a shield, don't do it, because you will lose 1 turn's worth of damage, and sometimes that doesn't matter. Most of the time that doesn't matter, but sometimes it does. So this matchup, Bibarel versus Alolan Raticate, I don't know how it goes, but he ended up swapping out into Alolan Raichu, in which case we swap into Umbreon, because that dark damage is going to be doing super effective damage against the psychic typing of Alolan Raichu. And we end up taking it out, and he comes in with Skuntank, and we're just going to stay in this matchup. It's fine. We have the Alolan Ninetales in the back for the Alolan Raticate whenever that Alolan Raticate gets swapped back in. But until then, in order to beat Skuntank, we are going to just go straight Last Resort. It's going to be doing neutral damage. Otherwise, we would be doing dark moves against a dark Pokemon, which is going to have a resistance. And then I end up swapping into our water type here, because it's going to be good against the Skuntank anyways, especially with it so low, and we're going to get up to this Hyper Beam that we had saved up to use against the Alolan Raticate. So we come up in this second game against the Cobra, and he uses Granbull, and we have the perfect lead here in Nidoqueen, the anti-charmer. So he swaps into Raticate, and we decide to just swap into Umbreon. Now, back in Nightmare Cup, this used to be Raticate favored, but since the Snarl buff, the Umbreon is actually favored in this matchup. And he's going to be going straight Hyper Fang, and we're going to be going Last Resort. Now, this Raticate did get a energy advantage coming in to this matchup, so in the fair or even scenarios, the Umbreon would win that, but since this Raticate came in with a 2 to 3 bite lead, he was able to get to a third Hyper Fang and take out our Umbreon. Usually you'd only be able to get up to 2, but we're okay with that. I mean, Umbreon kind of did his job of just being the safe swap there. We did not get switch advantage though, so that kind of sucks. But the problem with our opponent's team here was that Nidoqueen was good against 2 of the Pokemon here. So the Poison Jab that Nidoqueen has is going to be really good against Granbull, and then the Earth Power is going to be super effective against the electric typing of Alolan Raichu. So we're just going to be throwing out as many Earth Powers as we can, and it takes out the Alolan Raichu there. So our last set is going to be against Mr. Livid. He's, I think, head of the Texas PvP Discord, so really shout out to this guy. We love him here in Texas. He makes, you know, the tour of Texas is happening, 1 cup every month in one of the major cities in Texas. And these tournaments are so huge. If you remember the video we had of Mirror Cup of the West, he was one of the organizers, and that tournament got 131 people, I believe. And then this last tournament in Lubbock, I didn't attend it, but I know it had a lot of people go to that one too. I will be attending the one in Houston though for this Ferocious Cup, so hopefully we do well in that. But yeah, huge shout out to Mr. Livid. So, Bibarel versus Skuntank. That's Bibarel, a winning matchup for him. We do get taken out by this Vaporeon though after the fact, and we bring in the Umbreon, another just safe switch scenario, trying to do damage to this Vaporeon. And the reason we swapped into Umbreon, not only because it's a safe swap, but because we kept Ninetales just in case he has a Umbreon in the back. But as soon as Vaporeon goes down, we swap into Ninetales, Alolan Ninetales, because we have a shield. So we know that any Charm user with a shield is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Plus, it gives those Charm users enough time to get to their charge attacks, which are really hard to get to for Charm users because Charm is giving so little energy, but doing a lot of damage. So in this matchup, we start Lanoon into Shelgon, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know that much about Shelgon. The only thing I knew coming into the match was that it was a Dragon type. I'm sure it's using Dragon Tail as its energy, as its fast move, but I don't know anything about its charge moves. So I end up throwing up a shield right here because I think maybe it could be Outraged, but it ends up being Twister, so I don't shield it the second time coming through. Doesn't really do too much to us, about 30% of our life. And then he swaps into Vaporeon right here, and I think we're gonna... Oh no, we do end up shielding this. I guess we think we can make it to this Hyper Beam, which we do. He does have a shield, but we don't know if he'll shield it right here, and he does actually. So that really sucked for us, but all shields are down, which is really good in general. And we just need to make it to this Grass Knot, and we actually don't make it to the Grass Knot before the Vaporeon makes it to the Aqua Tail, and we were already so low coming into that matchup because of the Shelgon. So Umbreon's going to come in here, and I think what I'm going to do is just use the bulk to my advantage here. Oh wow, I'm surprised I went for this. I thought I would charge up all the way to 100 energy because I'm going to need as much energy as I can to win in a 1v3 situation. But he has a Alolan Ninetales in the back. We actually just had no chance here. I would have needed to get 3 Last Resorts off, which is not possible to have that much energy after one set of taking out the Pokemon. And in this match, I'm actually super surprised that he started Alolan Ninetales. So we started Umbreon because we didn't think he would, and then he brings in the Rhyperior, which I haven't seen anyone use in the Ferocious Cup, so that's interesting. But we do get the Grass Knot off. He doesn't go for the block, and that's going to be super effective against the ground type that Rhyperior is, and it's going to take it out for sure. And he brings in Vaporeon, so we're thinking we're just going to keep going Grass Knot then. Yeah, it's super effective against water and ground. But I think his line of thinking there was he needs to save Alolan Ninetales for the Umbreon matchup. And so we're thinking the same thing. We have Nidoqueen in the back, which is going to be super good against Alolan Ninetales, but actually pretty bad against Vaporeon. So we just, in order to win this round, all we need to do is make sure that the matchups stay in our favor and to not let it change. And we do a good job of that. As soon as he swaps out, we swap out, and we have the shield. And you're going to need a shield on Nidoqueen because Alolan Ninetales can get to that Psyshock, which is going to pretty much one-shot Nidoqueen. But as long as you have that, you're good. And we go for the Sludge Wave here, and we take out the Vaporeon. So all 4 of those sets went really well for us. And none of this could be possible without the YouTubers who helped me out and gave me their picks. And just to go through all of their names and give them a shout out, we have Indigo, PvP Steve, For the Battles, Best in West, Gemma Banks, and Jay Devon. So thank you all for helping me create these picks. All of their links to their channels are going to be in the description below, so go ahead and check them out. They're all really good, probably all better than I am. As you can see from their picks, really good picks. We actually only played, I think, these 4 best of 3s, and we won each of them pretty convincingly. So, yeah, thanks again for the picks. Hoping to do this once, maybe twice every cup. Probably once. I kind of want to get a whole new 6 every time. That way we can get different perspectives and see how the teams end up each time. Also, this combined with the wheel series that we do once every month, it's going to be pretty harsh on the Stardust, but I think we're going to get there, and I think y'all like it. I know I enjoy working with these people and these different types of these different ways to battle. A lot of videos you see the same thing every time. People pick 6 Pokemon that are really good, and they just go in there and they just do the battles. I kind of want to change it up out here in the PvP scene, and I think these are the way to do that is to collaborate with all the other PvPers, and just get different perspectives because everyone's different. So thanks again for watching. Again, check out all of these people's channels. They're amazing. Go ahead and subscribe to them. Check out their videos. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.